This week on This American Life, the reporter gets on a plane. The guy in the seat next to him is wearing, no kidding, a Superman costume. And yes, people keep asking the Superman guy, can you just fly there without the airplane? Turns out the guy decided one day that life was just too short not to do exactly what he wanted. And what he wanted many days was to dress just like Superman. Some people find it charming. That story and other tales of how to win friends and influence people this week.
That's tomorrow at noon here on WAMU 88.5. It's 20 minutes before 4.
You're listening to Talk of the Nation Science Friday. I'm Ira Flatow. We're talking for the rest of the hour about Dr. Atomic, an opera about the atom bomb. Sitting next to me is Gerald Finley, who plays the title role of J. Robert Oppenheimer in Dr. Atomic. And here's a little bit about what he was singing about on stage.
Batter my heart, 3% gone, that I may rise and stand, o'erthrow me and bid your force to break low, break blow, burn and make me new.
Batter my heart 3 different ways. It sounded, Gerald, like he was under duress there.
That's the moment in the opera when Oppenheimer's alone on stage, and the only other major thing on stage in this production is the actual fat man atomic bomb.
It really hovers overhead.
Yeah,
Visible almost all.
yeah, and in that particular aria, it's the sonnet "Batter My Heart, 3% Gone" by John Donne, and he's pleading effectively for some solace from whatever deity he can search for to rescue his doomed soul.
John Adams, you did interweave all these different elements, and they're taken from real life writings.
Yeah, the libretto is an extraordinary libretto. We should mention that it's the creation of Peter Sellers, who did the original production of Dr. Atomic in San Francisco, and with whom I've had a very fruitful, creative relationship that stretches back 25 years now to our first opera, Nixon in China. And in this case, Peter assembled all these quotes, as well as the little fragments of poetry, into a very, very meaningful and dramatically tense narrative. But it's amazing because when Edward Teller sings, he's actually singing Edward Teller's very words. A quote will come from Teller's memoirs, something that he remembered happening on that particular night before the bomb was exploded, and likewise passages from General Grove's biography, and I even ended up setting classified documents, of top secret meetings that had been held, at the Defense Department and the Pentagon in 1945, been recently declassified. So it may sound like it's a bit of a cut and paste, harebrained collage, but in fact, it's not that at all. It really does flow very much like a really gripping drama, and in the middle of all these dialogues, the physicists arguing over the morality of the use of the bomb, or Teller and Oppenheimer fretting at the beginning in scene 1 over they can't get the fuses on the plutonium sphere to fire properly, and they're really afraid of the fizzle. it's a multi-billion-dollar experiment, even in World War II dollars, and the pressure on these guys was just enormous. Every day there was some frantic phone call from the White House saying, is it ready, is it ready, is it ready? So Oppenheimer, we heard, had literally lost so much weight, he was down under 100 pounds and smoking 3 packs a day. So, there's a lot of opportunity for musical characterization of this constant state of tension.
Penny, the staging was just tremendous. I mean, the innovative use of multimedia. The way that the stage was, the sets were composed of almost like the walls of an apartment building or an office building laid bare, and the shades all brought down to be used as movie projection screens and rain and all kinds of things.
Yes, well, I come from a filmmaking background, so I was very interested in incorporating filmmaking techniques. But we also wanted the set to be very simple, because you have the desert, which is a huge challenge, to recreate that on the stage, which is essentially a sort of square box, and the desert was so beautiful, and Oppenheimer himself said that his 2 great loves were physics and the desert, and they were combined in the Manhattan Project. So we're somehow conjuring up not just the dreadfulness of the project that they were involved in, but also the beauty of it and the excitement. And so we did want it to be a very beautiful set, because on this mesa, on the hill, you had a few thousand of the most brilliant young men, the average age of 25, that are the most brilliant young scientists in the world, working as they thought initially against the clock to get to the atomic bomb before Hitler did. And then the opera opens at the point at which Germany has surrendered, Japan is losing the war, and they know that they're nowhere near getting nuclear weapons, and there's this huge debate over the ethics of what they're doing. And I think that the opera has this tremendous resonance now, because knowledge without wisdom is a very dreadful thing. And the things that they were talking about then, and were really deep to in their own hearts, are just as gripping now, both with weapons, but also obviously, cloning and all these different things that are being worked on at the moment, which have tremendous kind of ethical and moral implications.
And the music captures that tension that's everywhere.
It's all about the music, really, and John is such a brilliant composer, because it's the first great 21st century opera, and you can hear in it the rhythms of the 20th and the early 21st century. So it's very exciting and very accessible, and I think it does bring something to life and makes us look again at perhaps something that we thought we had understood and digested.
Right at the beginning, John, the young scientist Robert Wilson reads a petition urging caution with the bomb. Do you think that scientists have to worry about the repercussions? Was that something you wanted to make, as Penny says, it's a universal worry still today?
Well, I'm often asked that question, and I think insofar as a scientist is a member of the human race, like the rest of us, that they ought to worry about, the repercussions of their experiments. I know that there's some scientists who feel that they should be able to just do what they do and not have any concern with, what other people utilize it for. And I don't write these operas to take a political stand or to promote an agenda. For instance, I've been living with this story for 8 years, counting the 3 years that I read and researched and the 2 years writing it and then the years in the interim. And I to this day am not even sure whether the use of the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki was right or not. I mean, I can see reasons for both sides of the debate. But what I'm trying to do in this opera is bring home the fact that science is this noble expression, of what the human being can do, what makes us very special in terms of our thinking, our rationality, and our our control of matter. But at the same time, as Penny mentioned, we're facing this with bioethics, and I also think particularly with the medical prolongation of life, that we can't shy away from the ethical issues that are inherent in every time we make a scientific advance.
John talks about how many years he's been sitting with this baby, developing it. You've been involved playing Oppenheimer now for 3 years. Do you find yourself changing your interpretation of it over the years, or looking at it from a different light?
Well, I mean, it's a hugely complex issue, and I've had to look at both sides. The opera itself is very wonderfully written, so that the arguments are literally presented to Oppenheimer. Why don't we delay? Why don't we give a demonstration? Edward Teller in the first encounter, in the very first scene, says, we scientists, are working on something so terrible that no amount of protesting or fiddling with politics will save our souls. So, those are the first words from in the opera sung by a particular character, and that effectively is the challenge. And okay, we're more informed as material comes from that period, and all the different military ideas being pushed forward, saving of American lives versus enemy lives. One life is one life, all the way on. We're more informed, and yet the arguments are still very, very, very difficult. And I suppose that's all I found, is the arguments are even tougher.
There was one scene in particular, well, a couple of times in that first act, where you have General Grove who's in charge of the whole shebang, so to speak, admonishing the meteorologist to stop the rain. That was a lightning storm going on, right? He's saying, you have the power to stop this, make it happen, or I'm going to hang you, he basically says. And yet then, just a few moments later, he starts talking about, gee, how well my diet is working.
Absolutely. I think that's one of I'm sure, correct me if I'm wrong, John, but I think you must have had great delight in composing that particular little vignette of the chocolate diet.
What was your purpose in that? Was there a little comic relief here? Was that the real character?
Well, yeah, I mean, General Groves, I admit I do have a lot of fun with him. He's our boss, our Bufo. And he's so wonderfully portrayed by our baritone, Eric Owens. But, he was a really brilliant guy, let's face it. He took all these enormous engineering challenges, including building the Pentagon. And when Roosevelt named him to take over the Manhattan Project, the only thing people knew was that the nucleus could be split. The atom could be split, but they all went gathered in this remote spot on Mesa in New Mexico, knowing nothing else. And the fact that Groves was able to make it happen for Oppenheimer is an extraordinary thing. But there's something funny about Groves screaming at the weathermen. But at the same time, I think it points out the fact that we think we're masters of the universe. Look here, we can build the atomic bomb, we can send a man to the moon, but we still can't control the weather, or we still can't control our diets. So in certain senses, we're still like infants in the cradle.
I think it also brings to life, the way that in any situation, actually, I don't know how many of you have been, I'm sure most of us, to a funeral or have somebody who we love dying. And in the middle of all the great tragedy, there's often kind of very banal things or jokes or whatever. Nobody can really sustain that kind of tension. And I think that's one of the things that's really wonderful about Progressive, that in the middle of all this sort of anxiety about whether the bomb will work or whether it will ignite the Earth's atmosphere, whether or not there'll be, Truman will have a Trump card to play with Stalin the next morning at Potsdam. There's somebody worrying about whether or not they're getting fat. And that's really human nature, isn't it? It's what we're like.
Yes, you've all seen that. We're talking about Dr. Atomic. This hour, we're talking Nation Science Friday from NPR News. I'm Ira Flato here with Penny Wilcock, who's the director, John Adams, the composer, and Gerald Finley plays the role of J. Robert Oppenheimer in Dr. Atomic. That bomb, Penny, it looks so grotesque, so scary up there on that stage. Is that really what it looked like?
That's exactly what it looked like, and it was made by a man in England in his garage, and he absolutely copied the bomb to its last detail. So, although, I mean, it's scary and grotesque in some ways, but in other ways it's kind of scarily kind of rinky-dink, really, with all these wires hanging out of it. And there are all these stories about how they were literally sort of stuffing Kleenex and using sellotape in order to keep things in their place. And one of the things that I'd read that really intrigued me was that when they had the bomb hanging there, they worried that it might fall down and explode. And so they dragged 16 mattresses to pile up underneath it, somehow, going to save them from the bomb exploding. And we had considered using that in the production. I thought nobody will ever believe us, or think we make it up, although we're, trying to make fun of the scientists. But there was sort of very kind of homemade aspect to it as well, which, it's rather frightening, I think.
Stuff falling off of it looks like. You're right. I think it's got to. John, last question. Do you think there might be more science operas in you?
I think if you'd asked me the day after I put the final double bar on this after 2 years of work, I would have said you're crazy. But particularly after seeing Penny's production, which very much brings the science to the fore, I'm totally enchanted. And I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if science makes a major appearance in another stage work of mine.
All right, we're going to look forward to it. I thank all of you for taking time to be with us today. Gerald Finley plays the title role of J. Robert Oppenheimer in Dr. Atomic. He's here with us in New York. John Adams is the composer of Dr. Atomic and has a new memoir out now called Hallelujah Junction, Composing an American Life. He was joining us by phone today. And Penny Wilcock is the director of Dr. Atomic. I want to thank you, Penny, for taking time with us and staying up late to be on our show. And good luck to all of you in the production.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Greg Smith composed our theme music, and we had help today from NPR librarian Key Molesky. Surf over to our website at sciencefriday.com. We have Science Friday's Pick of the Week there, and you can see more information about Dr. Atomic and how to go see it here in New York as it completes its run here. Also, you can send us email at sciencefriday.com or surf over to our website where we're podcasting and blogging and doing all kinds of creative things for you. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. I'm Ira Flato in New York.